Hello, my name is Doug Connolly. I'm the Director of Outdoor Programs at Middlebury College, and I wanted to reach out with a short video before the semester starts so you have a sense of what you should bring, how to prepare for what will likely be a cold start to your semester. Spring semester, early spring semester, should be thought of as winter in Vermont. It's snowing on me now. There's a winter weather advisory tonight. Temps are going to hit a low of 8 degrees, and these are all things that you're going to potentially have to deal with when you arrive here. So I'm going to just share some strategies, and we'll think of staying warm in terms of 4 body parts. We'll start with the head, discussing how to keep the head warm and the importance of that. We're then going to move to hands, feet, and then body. And then just some final thoughts about finding the items that you need to set you up well for a great semester. And let's start with your hands. It's really simple, theoretically. Wear gloves all the time. The challenging part is avoiding taking off your gloves for things like doing your zippers, touching that doorknob, writing outdoors, writing with pencil or paper. Once you go outdoors, you should get your gloves on and keep them on the whole time. And so I usually try to find a thin pair of gloves that is still insulative, but I can do all those small fine motor skill tasks with. And those become my go-to gloves. These are pretty slick. They're simply insulated work gloves that see, I just took my glove off there, that do a nice job. For very cold days, I might go with a thicker insulated glove. Now, it's going to be a lot harder to do fine motor skills with these. So, pro tip is to maybe find yourself a simple pair of liner gloves, and those slip right into your big warm gloves. So I come up to a doorknob and I don't want to expose my hand to that metal surface that's going to conduct heat away, but I slip my glove out, do what I need to do, and then right back in. Gloves shouldn't be an expensive item. All my gloves are simple hardware store gloves. I do recommend you think function over fashion and go to your local hardware store. And you'll find a great selection of far more affordable, very durable, very well-made gloves that will get you through the winter. Okay, let's discuss the head next. And we're going to discuss the head because your brain takes an enormous amount of blood, and that is heated, warm blood, and your body works very hard to keep your brain at the appropriate temperature. That means a lot of your body's warmth is going to radiate out from your head. So there's a simple solution. Keep a hat on all the time. And it doesn't need to be an amazing fancy hat. Just have something covering your head. Most jackets are equipped with hoods. Use that hood as a secondary hat when you need to. I sleep in my hat. I cook in my hat. I wear it indoors. I wear it outdoors. So really, just make sure you're bringing a couple of good hats to school. Let's talk next about feet. It's a typical complaint in the winter that, oh, my toes are cold. So how do we prevent that? Well, number one is footwear choice. And I want you to do your best to bring a pair of boots to school. They don't need to be the fanciest things in the world, but why boots? Well, they're typically high enough to keep snow from getting into your sock and foot and against your skin. And they're often insulated to protect you from the cold. So there's some examples here. All right. Boots, insulated, high enough and sturdy enough to keep the snow and water out from getting in my sock. Here's some mucklucks, insulated. Here's some old snow boots, good insulated boots. Here's some hiking boots. Most hiking boots aren't insulated, but they will at least keep the snow out from out of your socks, and you'll want to insulate them instead with good socks. And then, you know, what many of us often kick around in are sneakers or tennis shoes. just know that these aren't going to keep you very warm, and they're not going to stay dry, which will result in not keeping you very warm. And they're low, so snow is going to get inside of them very quickly. So I see boots as being a pretty essential item for winter in Vermont. Okay, I've got a pair of boots, and my toes are still cold. What do I do? Well, let's make sure those boots are loosely laced. Remember, it's really blood flow that's carrying the heat to your toes, and if you lace up your boots too tightly, there's no blood getting down to your toes, and they're going to be cold no matter what. Dry socks. When you put your socks on, did you accidentally step on the doormat and get them a little wet? Or did you walk across your kitchen and get them a little wet? Make sure your socks are dry. A little bit of moisture in your socks is going to make your feet cold all day long. Okay? Putting on multiple pairs of socks is great, unless that makes them so tight that there's no blood flow getting to your feet. So be careful of that. But yeah, a couple pairs of socks, super. And I am going to recommend a pair of wool socks. I know they are more expensive than cotton socks often, but wool does keep you warm while wet, you know, and actually your socks will get damp from sweat. And so wool will insulate you even when it's wet. That's why sheep are so happy all the time, because they're still warm out there in the rain. And then final tip is, remember the idea of conduction, drawing heat away from your body by being in contact with other things. Well, our feet are always in contact with the ground, usually. And so you're losing heat through your feet, even with good pair of socks and boots. So I'll often add insulation into my boots. It's common for shoes to come with an extra pair of insoles, or just cut up some foam and slip them into your boots to create a little extra barrier of insulation between your foot and the ground. That will go a long way. Make sure it doesn't make your boots too tight. You still want to be able to wiggle your toes. Okay, as Middlebury Panthers, you should become masters of layering. It's the secret to staying warm in winter. And the idea is that it's not just your clothing that insulates you from the cold. Every time you put on another layer of clothing, there's airspace in between. A layer of air that is one of the best insulators out there. Air is a great insulator. So in between those layers of clothing is basically bonus insulation. Okay, far better than if you just had one really thick jacket on. I mean, that's the whole idea behind those big, thick down parkas. The down, feathers, is a way to have lots of air space. So let's just have airspace in between our clothes, right? So, you know, throw on that shirt. And I usually start with my more snug items because they're going to layer better underneath. Oh, it's a little chillier outside. So I'll put on a sweater next. Yep. Just get that nice sweater on. And we're not even nearly done. We got more layers coming, so it's important to arrange the cuffs and things. And, you know, you might want to still be able to see your watch. So think about where you put your watch on. Still a little chilly, so I'm going to layer on another one. Yep. Get a nice sweatshirt or fleece. If you're putting on your hooded sweatshirt, think about how the hoods layer on one another. And then got this big old work coat that I like to layer on. I think, what am I on now? Layer 5, right? I got my t-shirt, my collared shirt, my sweater, my fleece, my big coat. And so really, oh, and hey, layering doesn't just happen in the upper body. I'll spare you the details, but rest assured that I've got layers on my legs too. Tights, spandex, long johns, high knee socks should all go beneath your pants, or throw 2 pairs of pants on. Okay, I just want to review what I believe are the essential items for you to pack, your packing list to keep you warm this semester. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, and remember, it is function over fashion. You don't have to get fancy with these. You don't have to go to like the outdoor retailer store. Just do the best you can to stay warm. First, gloves and or mittens. I recommend 2 pair. Gloves and mittens are important. Then I do recommend wool socks. The common brands that you'll see are Smart Wool or Darn Tough, which is a Vermont company. Just be sure they're wool, and they'll keep you warm. 2 warm hats. Sure, you can get by with 1, but hats are important enough, and they're easy to come by. It doesn't hurt to have 2 warm hats. Winter boots. 1 pair. Just ideally, they're insulated and they keep the snow from getting into your feet and socks. Then a warm winter jacket. Ideally hooded, insulated, zips up or buttons up. Something to really keep you warm out there. And then finally, layers. Lots of them. Sweaters, sweatshirts, leggings, long johns, fleeces. Just have a number of layers and practice layering many things at once. Finally, I want to remind you that these things don't warm you up. They hold in the heat that you already have. Your body is the furnace. And so in the winter, you should be eating more food and staying hydrated, drinking more water than you might be used to. Your body metabolizes and creates heat with food and water. Here are some resources. In Middlebury, remember, there will be some sort of campus quarantine while you're here, so you will be contained to Middlebury for a while. So we do have 2 hardware stores, Aubuchon and Martin's. I think hardware stores are the way to go for gloves. The college bookstore also has stocked a number of winter and cold weather items, so check out the college bookstore. Downtown Mid, so in walking distance from campus, you have the Middlebury Mountaineer. These are retail items, so they would be more expensive, kind of brand name jackets and snow pants and things, but certainly check that out if you want. And then do you know about the College Gear Room? This is a part of my office, the Middlebury Outdoor Programs. We operate a substantial gear room for free borrow. You can check out jackets, Nordic skis, snowshoes, gloves, camping stoves for 1 week at a time, free of charge. It's in the Freeman International Center, the FIC. It's really great. A little further afield in Vermont in Burlington is the Outdoor Gear Exchange, and I point them out in particular because of their consignment basement. The entire basement of the store is used quite affordable clothing. You can get some great deals there. So if you're on your way to Mid going through Burlington, check out the Outdoor Gear Exchange basement on Church Street. And then online, I do think Patagonia makes great products, but they are very expensive. So there is the Wornwear program, wornwear.patagonia.com, where they've made the effort to repair and sell used clothing at a much reduced cost. So if there's some special jacket or fleece that you really want, maybe check it out on Wornwear. Okay, well, I can't wait to see you this spring, and I really hope we all stay warm out there.